We're going to move and shake, baby. This is gold. Settling. Hello, welcome to another episode of Media Diet. My name is Stephen Malik. I'm a producer here at the Littlefield company. Sitting next to me is the man, the myth, the legend, Duncan Littlefield, our junior PA. How's it going, Duncan?
Doing great, man. I don't think I've had a better intro in a long time, so thank you for that. Excited to be here. Excited to be on Media Diet and chat everything media and videos and TV and movies and streaming and games and life.
All of it. Let's grab all of it and just spit it out onto the screen and onto this audio file that listeners are listening to.
Facts.
So I work as a producer here, and so I'm usually behind the scenes. I'm not great on camera, I will admit, but I'm going to suck it up and try to get through this.
I disagree.
This is a rare opportunity for me to interview who, by all accounts, is my boss, Duncan Littlefield, the CEO of the Littlefield company.
Yeah, but you introduced me as a PA, so by all accounts, I work for you.
Okay, then. Well, PA, I'm going to assign you to do a good job on this podcast.
You got it, man. I'm going to be the best guest. That is my goal. That is what I'm focused on, and I'm here to be a great guest.
Cool. So, as we do in every episode, I'm going to start with asking you a question. And that question, Duncan, is what has been in your media diet lately? Like, what have you been consuming?
So what I've been consuming recently, it's actually a really fun question for me to answer because I kind of like segment it of like what's new and what's old. So a fun fact about me is I actually, what I call is the Netflix lullaby. Mm-hmm. So I actually go to sleep listening to an old show of Netflix.
Interesting.
So it settles me down, it calms me down, but it's like realistically like one of 4 to 5 shows that I've watched countless times. So I'm not actually utilizing like brain power to like think or keep up with a movie or a new show that I got to follow a time or a storyline. And so for that, it just I kind of joke that I've watched, I'll pick on The Office or Seinfeld or, Parks and Rec. I've watched the entire series dozens of times. But realistically, I've only watched the first 2 minutes of every episode dozens and dozens of times because I fall asleep right after 2 minutes.
You fall asleep to the episode. This is interesting. So you're putting something on for the sole purpose of listening to something that you're familiar with and comfortable with, and it kind of lulls you to sleep. You don't have to give it a lot of attention. You don't have to like interact with it.
It's my version of like ocean sounds, whale noises, whatever that podcast is that Alan listens to.
So it's noise in a way.
It's background noise.
But it's noise that you're familiar and comfortable with.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
You've heard it so many times.
Yep. So those are always on regulars of like what I'm actually consuming. But then, right now, I just got through Drive to Survive F1 on Netflix.
Oh boy, we got to get Caleb on this show.
Yeah. No, Caleb has become an avid fan of F1. We were talking about next week's race. I was like, he can't watch it because it's like 1 a.m. And he's like, I'm just not going to do that because they're over in Australia or whatever. But F1 came through. Currently, actually, I know I'm a little late to the game, but I'm actually finishing Tom Holland's Spider-Man trilogy right now.
Ooh.
I know. And then what else am I consuming? Not consuming a ton of social content.
Well, let's stop and back up a second.
All right, I'm back.
So back to Spider-Man. Where are you right now? You said you're still currently consuming them?
Still currently consuming. I am about, I would say, an hour in to the final.
So that would be Spider-Man No Way Home.
That is correct.
Where, if you can remember, where did you end up stopping the film? Because some big things happen in that.
Totally. So I had like a little Easter egg. Well, obviously, the movie came out how many months ago, right?
Several months ago. Spoiler alert, we may be going into Spider-Man No Way Home spoilers in this next section.
So I know what happens.
You know what's coming.
I know it's coming.
But what have you seen?
But I don't know how it's happening yet. So where I am is where they go into Happy's apartment or condo, and he is working on fabricating all of the ex-villains
Mm-hmm.
kind of like how to fix them and how to help them. So like Mag just went off the rails.
Got it.
So like they were captured, he brought them all out, went off the rails, and we're about to go see what Jamie Foxx does with a new haircut.
Yes, and it's no longer blue.
Correct. I think the funniest joke so far was when he was talking about that, because in Andrew Garfield's version,
Mm-hmm.
it was hysterical for what he looked like, and now it's like he's like a normal Jamie Foxx character in No Way Home, and like when he opened, he was like, I kind of dig this, and I thought it was so funny because like you look at like the then and now, and it's so different.
Yeah, and he has another line like later in the film that I think is really great that I'm not going to spoil. But
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I believe that was one of Jamie Foxx's like terms for coming back and reprising his role was like, I'll do this again, but I don't want to have to wear that blue paint again.
I understand, totally understand that.
Oh man, well I am so happy for you that you're taking this Spider-Man trilogy journey, because the first film was really fun. It was really light and breezy and funny, and we didn't have to sit through another origin story. They kind of just assumed everybody knew what it was, and it was better because of it, I think. And it was also a film that I feel felt more connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe than like other Marvel-made movies, probably because it was Sony trying very hard to attach themselves in every way possible to the Marvel Universe. And then, of course, you had the second one with Jake Gyllenhaal as
I thought the
Doc,
second one was great.
Or not Doc Ock, Mysterio.
Mysterio. I thought the second one was great.
Mm-hmm.
The twists and turns of it were great. The the experience of it was great. I mean, you thought the movie ended halfway through. Like, you really think back on it, and you're like, all right, this movie is, like, kind of wrapping up right now. But, like, you got through it so fast that it was a great experience, and you were like, okay, like, I don't want to say I could be done right now, but, like, you had a couple big fight scenes, couple big battles already. And then everything turned up on the side of the head. I thought it was great.
Yeah, agreed.
But that's my hot take.
Totally enjoyable. Arguably the best Spider-Man films.
Wow, that's a big statement for a Wednesday morning, Steven.
I know there are a lot of Sam Raimi fans out there, but I really enjoyed the last Spider-Man film.
So here's the question. When you think about Spider-Man, who do you think about?
Well, right now it's Tom Holland.
Yeah, but like if you're in your head, I say Spider-Man, who pops up?
Tom Holland.
Oh, it's Toby for me. It's Toby. I think of Toby.
Well, just finish No Way Home, and then we'll return to that conversation.
There's the spoiler, right? There's the spoiler. Well done, Steven. Well done. Proud of you.
I'm not going to say what happens, but yeah, just finish the film, and we'll talk more about that.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. I should get through it hopefully this weekend.
Yeah, it's something. Another funny little quirk is in the Sony had a Amazing Spider-Man video game, and the character in the original version of the game was kind of loosely modeled after Andrew Garfield, because I believe he was still the star of the series back when they started making the game. And then just recently they provided an update, and they completely changed his look. So now it's the same voice, but it looks like Tom Holland. And
really?
Like everybody kind of went crazy, and they're like, "Whoa, this is kind of jarring to suddenly have the digital actor switch like in the middle of playing this game."
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that I actually kind of like that. It's leaning into what today's world is looking for, right? Consistent evolution, consistent update, like all. I think that's fantastic.
So cool. So as far as films go, you're working Spider-Man. You said you've watched some TV shows to help you go to sleep at night. What was the last show you watched to help you go to sleep, just out of curiosity? Is it consistent, or are you bouncing between different shows each night?
It's consistent once I start a series.
So and are you working through an entire season? Are you working through an entire like show?
Entire show.
So Seinfeld could last you for months.
Absolutely not. Because right now Netflix will play probably 2 or 3 episodes.
Oh.
So I will I start season 4, episode 3. I'll go to bed the next night on season 4, episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it is. Well, I actually watched Seinfeld last night, so like it was Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
But so the staples are The Office, How I Met Your Mother, New Girl, Seinfeld, and Parks and Rec. Those are like the 5.
All solid shows. Although I haven't really watched New Girl yet. Can you tell me the the what's
It's
the hook
great.
for New Girl? Like,
It's great. That's the hook.
it's great.
It's great.
Just solid comedy.
Absolutely. There's character storylines woven throughout the whole thing. There's so many great lines in every single episode. Plus, you look at like the group of characters that they bring together, and like you will look at your group of friends and being like, that's that person. They do a great job with like identifying like wild and craziness of people, but then like the humanizing emotional element of others.
Okay.
I still think How I Met Your Mother is the best comedy ever written.
Wow.
Statement, hard stamp of approval.
Strong
Duncan,
statement.
that's it. There it is.
But there is an argument to be made there.
I agree. Everybody hated the last season,
Oh,
but that's a totally different argument.
I personally think it should have ended after like season 5. I think after that it started going downhill. Our cameraman is shaking his head.
See, I disagree. I realistically thought season 9 was good. I think season 9 was the last one. I think it was. I think season 9 was good. I think season 9 could have been half the length, and it would have been exceptional. If it was 20 episodes or whatever, if they knocked it down to 11, it would have been incredible. But there's so many amazing moments in season 9 that people just like completely overlook.
Name one of those moments.
The ice skating rink. Great event. Talks about humanization and love and I don't know, everything about it and like curating. I don't know. I thought it was incredible. And, but the storyline on how they got to the ice skating rink also ties back into all the way back to Marshall's bachelor party back in season 3 or whatever. And so like about all of these weddings and bachelor parties or bachelorettes all have this like level of manipulation. And like there is such a great storyline there throughout the entire episode. And so ice rink in the final season was great.
Yeah, they certainly tried to make that like an epic moment in their relationship.
So there was
a relationship that was rooted in manipulation, I would argue.
I totally agree with you. I mean, even down to the playbook or the Robin.
Yes, the Robin play.
The Robin.
And you are correct. It was 9 seasons.
Bang.
Is there anything else that you are, let's say, actively watching that you're actively interested in and are invested in?
That's a great question.
And this can include any form of media. Reminder, like if there's anything you're playing video game wise, if there's anything on YouTube or social media that you're consuming?
So not much on social media that I'm following regularly. I'm actually following a lot more brands right now on social to give us ideas or like offer things or context or look at trends, not like TikTok dancing trends, but more of like, hey, how is, Tag watch company telling or releasing a new watch? So it's like when we're talking to companies and brands, I want to make sure that we're keeping up with the best of the best, in my opinion. I think Tag does a great job with it. I think Tag does a great job with their influencer campaigns and everything like that. So like that's one that I'll follow up with. And then, again, Nike is a great example, but they use so many agencies. But like recently for Air Max Day, they had this great, incredible piece of VR or augmented reality. I think it was, VR over in Tokyo, where it was like they were unboxing the original Nike Air Max from like 1988 or whatever it was, or 1980, 35 years, whatever that was.
So this is a person wearing a VR headset? Like
no, it actually,
a box?
No, so it was actually a animated graphic coming out of a building. So you would just stand there and watch this thing animate. And so then at that point, it showed the new line for what they were dropping for Air Max Day, the 35th edition of Air Max Day. It was just incredible. So like now I'm trying to figure out like how do we do more of that? Not so much from like the, hey, let's go to Tokyo and film this, but more of if people are consuming that, how are we keeping up with it with our craft and what we do, and how do we connect to audiences and understand storylines? So that's really what I've been really, really digging into. But I know on our side of things, like with, our first narrative film coming up in August, Mike has been watching movies for all of his life, but like he is now digging into like how we're going to shoot this. Tim on that side of things is like also watching movies that would potentially align with it. So it's been really cool to hear about movies, shots, coloring, cinematic experiences through them during those updates. So I'm like kind of watching those movies through them, which has been really cool because like I just get the Cliff Notes version of like how it's awesome.
Yeah, that can be kind of fun to experience a movie through somebody else's lens, especially if it's somebody who like can speak intelligently about like cinematography.
I think actually one that I would also say is that we all know Mike. If we were going to all say what his favorite movie is, we all know it. It's Ghostbusters without question, right?
Yep.
So I actually was on a plane last week and I watched the new Ghostbusters for the first time. But
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
But I've watched it through Mike for the last 6 months.
Did you cry?
I did not cry, but it was absolutely exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was amazing. The writing to it was great. Cinematography, it had nostalgia in it. It had everything about it. Like, I asked Mike, I was like, was there a bad thing about it? And he was like, I'm not the guy to ask because of how like biased I am towards it. And I was like, oh, I thought you would like rip it apart because you watched it 24 times. But anyways, I like went back. There's such good elements at every single turn. It holds true to the original storyline. It holds true to the original point of Ghostbusters of like, you know, back when like Bill Murray and Acolyte, like all of those, like it did such a great job that I was in awe of that movie.
Interesting. Well, I have a slightly different opinion on it, but
oh, that's great.
I don't want to get sucked down into a hot take debate here.
I know, and we also don't have Mike. If Mike can't defend Ghostbusters, I think we're out of our depths here.
Yeah. I think the fan service at the end of the film kind of derailed the story they were telling a little bit.
Oh, that's such an interesting hot take. Wow, Steven.
I don't even think that's a hot take. I think that probably aligns with a lot of movie critics out there.
Oh, wow.
But
if you're listening at home, that's a big one out of Steven.
That's a big one out of me.
That's a big one out of Steven.
So let me take a moment here to switch gears a little bit and talk about what's in my media diet, because I am a bit of a media junkie.
Let's do it.
I think my media consumption is a little more spread out across like TV and movies and video games. I listen to a lot of music, but I'm not really I can't really talk to music very well. But
let me ask you a question about music before you go into yours.
Sure.
When you listen to a song, do you hear the beat or the vocals first?
The kind of music I'm listening to, it usually starts with the beat before vocals kick in.
Interesting. Because I know people like kind of like split it, where it's like they listen to it because they love the lyrics, or like they love like the tone or the direction, or others like they're just like, this is just a great, like I had an old roommate who loved Kesha's TikTok, not for the lyrics but for the beat of it.
Right.
And he would listen to it over and over and oh my gosh, over again.
Well, there are so many great songs that have like a great beat and great instrumentals,
yes.
But then the messaging is kind of muddies the song a little bit.
I'm totally with you there. So I didn't know which one you lean towards. So you're more of instrumental and beat compared to the lyrics.
Yeah. I also listen to like a lot of lo-fi stuff where I kind of with you and the shows going to sleep, I just need something like as background noise to like help me like concentrate or work throughout the day.
Makes sense. Okay, cool. Thanks.
So, what's in my media diet? Well, I actually had to make a list because I have so much stuff that I'm working through. But the girlfriend and I have started multiple series, and now we are in a point where I come home at the end of the workday, and I'm like, well, what do we want to watch an episode of now while we eat dinner? Yep. And we have so much to choose from. So just to run down the list, we are currently watching The Dropout on Hulu.
Heard that was good.
It is. I've only watched the first episode of it,
but I heard it was good.
I've liked what I've seen so far. We're watching We Crashed on Apple TV Plus. That's the one with Jared Leto as the WeWork founder.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's slightly better than The Dropout. But again, I've only seen one episode of The Dropout so far, so that could change.
That's on Apple TV?
Apple TV Plus, yes.
That is now going on my... did you watch the documentaries about WeWork?
I did not. Now, my girlfriend is really into like failed tech startups, or I guess disgraced tech startups, because a lot of these companies are still making a lot of money. Like WeWork is still pulling in like millions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
So she's been kind of like she's been kind of binging like several series about like tech startups, and so she's like really into all these, and our interests kind of overlap there. So I'm like, yeah, I want to see all these and kind of like dip my toe in the water and like see which series I like, because we're also watching Super Pumped on Showtime.
Yep.
starring
Uber.
our boy Joseph
Oh.
Gordon-Levitt.
Big fan.
So yeah, it's about Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Travis Kalanick, the Uber CEO, who
Good old Travis.
was eventually disgraced and I think voted off his own board.
Or it was a voluntary leave, something like that.
Or did it end up being a voluntary leave?
I
I
don't-
haven't finished this. The series isn't like over as of the time of this recording.
Or
so
it was like something that like it was. Yeah, he was like not forced out, but it was going to happen.
But he
so,
was
like,
kind of
he
gonna
was
get
out.
forced out either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I having watched a little bit, like one episode of The Dropout, like 2 to 3 episodes of We Crashed. I've watched one episode of Super Pumped. I would say Super Pumped is probably the weakest in terms of like the writing. I mean, these are all like fine series. Like I would continue watching all of them. But right now, my ranking as far as series based on disgraced tech startups, I would do We Crashed, The Dropout, Super Pumped as my ranking.
You're gonna have to go to Firefest next.
I did watch that.
Did you
one
watch
of those?
that?
One
One
of
of
those documentaries. Yes.
Yep, go to that one next.
And then what else is in my diet? I'm watching Severance on Apple TV Plus, which I am enjoying a lot and would recommend.
Okay.
That one has. So I'm kind of a sucker for a show with a high concept, and the concept in this one is there are people who work for this company, and they undergo this physical process so that when they go to work, their brain like switches, and there's like a side of them that is at work, and then when they leave work, their brain switches back, and they're suddenly off work, and they can't remember anything that happened when they were in the office.
Really?
And so the part of them that's at work just experiences work and nothing else. And the part of them that's at home only experiences stuff outside of work. And then
Fascinating.
there's kind of a mystery because, a character tries to get the process reversed, and he comes into like the main character's life, and the mystery develops from there. We started season 2 of Upload on Amazon. Have you heard of that one?
I have. I would say that I got through a few episodes of season 1 and did not finish.
Copy that. Well, we watched the first episode of season 2 and have not come back to it yet. Not because we don't want to watch it. We just have so much on our plate right now that we haven't really. And the first episode of season 2 is kind of like a reset for the show, so it's kind of a weird episode.
So it didn't get you going.
No.
Didn't get the juices flowing.
No.
Bummer.
I did watch The Batman, but I believe a couple of the guys already talked about The Batman at length on a previous
And I
episode.
have not seen The Batman yet.
So,
But again, I heard it's a great thing that he doesn't do an origin story again.
yes.
So same thing with Spider-Man, like no origin goes right into it, which
I
I'm
mean,
a big fan of.
Especially for The Batman, who is such an iconic character
Yep.
and has had so many iterations of his story at this point that we really don't need it.
I agree. I think it's a great call.
And then as far as video games, I have been getting
Ooh.
deep into Horizon Forbidden West on the PlayStation 5. That's one of their kind of tentpole franchise games that recently came out.
Interesting.
I gotta say, it's kind of on the boring side so far.
Okay. Call you see it.
I'm only 10 hours into it. I know that's weird to say for a video game. I'm 10 hours in and I'm still kind of a little bit bored. I just reached the point where the map has opened up and there's like, it's just a map full of icons that I have to like go around and unlock. And I've reached the point where I'm just kind of wandering around and unlocking fast travel points because I'm like, I don't even know what's out there. Let me just walk around and see what happens.
Okay.
But yeah,
I respect it.
yeah, giant open world game. The first one was fantastic.
Yep.
This one hasn't really added enough new. It just kind of seems like a continuation of the first one so far. But again, I'm only like 10 hours into it.
Okay. I'm excited to report back.
So, Duncan, are you playing any video games?
Yeah, I'm actually, so fun fact about me, I don't know if people know this about me or not, but like, so I wake up in the morning and I play video games to stimulate my brain before I get in the gym.
Interesting. So, sitcoms to go to sleep, video games to wake up in the morning.
Absolutely. So normally my video game of choice is Warzone. So Call of Duty Warzone. So right now, I'll jump in, I'll play 2 or 3 games of Warzone. If it's Resurgence or Rebirth or whatever it is, get 2 or 3 games in with a cup of coffee and a quick snack. And like, that's my go-to right now.
That energizes you. Is this
Yep.
now? Is this on PC? Is this console?
PS4
Warzone.
PS4 Warzone, if you can believe it.
And I got to ask, what are those matches like nowadays in 2022?
Totally fine. like no lag. The upload time on like picking games or like, putting people in a pool is no problem.
What's the community like?
Totally fine.
Totally fine.
I mean, again, you don't wait very long for a game right now.
And you don't have kids yelling obscenities at you the whole time?
No, but also when you're playing solos, you don't hear anybody.
Okay.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So like I'll just go into solos. So now there's a few of us that will play every once in a while, but they start playing so late now, and I go to bed so early that it's like I get one game in maybe, and then have to like shut my brain down. But like I'm then at that point still wired, trying to go to sleep, and it doesn't work well. So I'm on a solo mission to destroy the world, I guess.
Yeah, I've read so many studies about how it's terrible to play video games right before going to sleep. Probably because it's a lot of killing and a lot of. I had somebody mention to me once that like video games, like playing video games is like feeding an addiction to a higher state of anxiety.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. So then at that point, that's like the Charlotte game system, and then I'm probably gonna put probably a Switch out in Vegas, so I can also like then travel with it. But I know Call of Duty is not on Switch, which bummer. But
not yet, as far as we know.
Not yet, as of we know. But that means probably throw like, I don't know, like an Apex in, kind of that world to get me going in the morning. But
hey, there's always Splatoon if you want to go Nintendo.
Yep, I heard that's good. So, is that your go-to right there, Splatoon?
No, I don't currently own a Switch, so
okay.
I that is inaccessible to me at the moment. I might break down and get one when there are more games I want to play that I can't currently play on the PS5.
Yep.
Like all the Nintendo exclusives. I think we're on the cusp of them announcing like a successor to the Switch, like a Switch 2 or something.
Really?
So maybe I'll jump on that whenever that upgrade comes. But at the moment, I've got enough to play with the PS5.
Yeah, I get that.
So that's all the time we have today for Media Diet. Everybody out there, keep consuming, stay happy, and stay classy. Adios.